on a Gladesmen adventure to explore the hidden gems of Florida's wilderness. An airboat, the only vessel perfectly suited for these terrains, is ready to carry us into the heart of the untouched landscape. Our adventure begins as we glide through remote marshes, across fields of sawgrass, and down rivers that run through the vast wilderness areas of this great state. The Gladesmen, the original stewards of this unique ecosystem, knew these waters intimately, will strive to connect with the spirit of their heritage, deeply rooted in hunting and fishing, while searching out the most tranquil and serene landscapes. We'll explore their techniques, share their stories, and pay homage to the traditions that have sustained them for generations. These moments will be preserved, creating a visual archive of the natural wonders that often go unseen. Also, showcased in our videos, safe operation and maintenance of an airboat is crucial, and we'll delve into the intricacies of driving and keeping this unique watercraft in prime condition for these wild adventures. So join me as we navigate the waters, document the untouched beauty, and pay tribute to the Gladesmen who have preserved the spirit of old Florida on Gladesmen Journeys. In this episode of Gladesmen Journeys, we'll launch our destination series where we'll visit places to go with your airboat. Join us as we run the East Marsh off of State Highway 512 just west of Vero Beach. Next, we'll go through some do's and don'ts for safe airboat operation. Then, we'll wrap things up with some maintenance tips for your composite airboat propeller. The East Marsh is part of the Blue Cypress Conservation Area that is managed by the St. Johns River Water Management District. It measures just over 6,700 acres and is accessible off of State Highway 512, which intersects State Highway 60, 9 miles west of I-95 at Vero Beach. Typically, I get my boat ready to launch across the street from the East Marsh in the parking lot at Lake Garcia. That way I'm not having to deal with the traffic going up and down Highway 512. You don't have to launch across the street from Lake Garcia. There's several other places along 512 that will let you launch into the rim canal that leads into the East Marsh. The bank leading into the rim canal isn't that steep, but I still leave a dock line tied from my boat to the trailer winch post just as a precaution to keep the boat from coming off prematurely. Parking along the side of the road is permitted, but one word of caution is you may need four-wheel drive to be able to pull your airboat back out. Launching off of 512, the deep rim canal borders the west and north boundaries of the East Marsh. There are several places off of this L-shaped rim canal that allow you access into the interior of the East Marsh. Like I said earlier, the East Marsh is 6,700 acres, and you can ride in here for days and never run the same trail twice. If you're running the East Marsh for the first time, I really suggest using a GPS that leaves a crumb trail. It's very easy to get turned around in here. Most of the East Marsh is just shallow flooded grass, but there are a lot of trails that weave in and out and connect all of the open areas. Many of these trails are just wide enough for one boat, so run them with extreme caution, always looking far ahead for anybody oncoming. These duck hunters really appreciated the fact that I shut down and let them paddle past safely. If I hadn't been paying attention, this encounter could have had a very different outcome. A lot of the kayakers and most of the mud boats that you'll encounter out here in the East Marsh don't run orange flags like we do in the airboats. Many parts of the East Marsh do not have well-defined trails, but for me, this is the exciting part, being able to explore new areas and go places that any other boat could not go unless it was an airboat. This trail that seemed to go nowhere led me to another wide open area on the back side of the marsh. One location you'll for sure want to visit in the East Marsh is summer camp. This is a pavilion that's located in the western third of the marsh, and it's a great place to pull up, get out of the boat, and maybe have a barbecue lunch. There's a canal that runs north from summer camp and brings you to another pavilion called winter camp. This pavilion provides a lot more shelter and is a great place to pull up in case you're caught out here in an afternoon thunderstorm. You can also camp out here for the night or for the weekend on a first-come, first-served basis. There's actually 4 pavilions in the marsh: Summer and Winter Camp, which is located in the western third, North Camp, which is located on the North Rim Canal, and Banjo Camp, which is located in the eastern third of the marsh. I have a detailed chart of the East Marsh. Just send me a message on the Gladesmen Journeys Facebook page, and I'd be happy to share it with you. Fishing in the East Marsh is pretty good, mainly in the deep water of the bordering Rim Canal. If you like to duck hunt, it can be hit or miss depending on what area of the marsh the ducks are hanging out in at that time. If bow fishing is your thing, when the tilapia spawn, there are so many beds, it looks like the place has been carpet bombed. The East Marsh is a great place to spend the day or the weekend. And if you're new to airboating, the open shallow water is a great place to hone your driving skills. Now we'll share with you a driving tip that will hopefully make your time on the water a little bit safer. The mistake I see a lot of new airboat operators make is chopping the throttle and coming off a plane too fast. Here you can see as the boat comes off a plane too fast, the stern wake that's following the boat actually catches up and lifts the transom of the boat. If this boat had a low freeboard and short transom, it could have turned out really bad. As you run your airboat, the displacement of the hull creates a stern wake that follows behind the boat. If you come off a plane too quick, this stern wake will catch up to the boat and grow in size as it does. Watch this video clip as I come off a plane too quick and the stern wake catches up to the boat and slams into the transom. Not something you would ever want to do in a boat with a lower freeboard. Now watch in this clip as I feather the throttle and come off a plane more slowly, and the stern wake has a chance to dissipate before impacting the transom. Here's another example of feathering a throttle and coming off a plane slowly, giving that stern wake a chance to dissipate. That way no water can come over the transom. If you're new to airboating, take your time. Learn how to drive your boat in shallow water. Once you've mastered these skills, you'll see why the exhilaration of driving an airboat cannot be matched by any other watercraft. Maintaining your airboat propeller is something that you really need to get in the habit of doing on a regular basis. This particular prop, it's built by Cincinich, so what we're going to do is we'll use their procedure for maintenance and torquing the bolts, but really other than the torque specs, these procedures really apply to almost any composite airboat propeller. For cleaning it, soapy water is all you really need, and then to protect the finish, just really a paste wax. I use turtle wax. It works really good. Cincinich says you really shouldn't use a liquid wax on the blade. It's something I've gotten in the habit of doing whenever I change oil. Every 30 hours I change the oil on the engine. Every 30 hours I maintain my blades and I retorque the hub and the clamp bolts. Since I'm already working on the engine anyway and it's so easy to do, every 30 hours inspect the blade, make sure your leading edge is in good shape, there's no nicks or dings. It's going to protect your investment. Let's face it, most of these blades are $3,000 or $4,000. And if you've ever seen one of these things come apart, it does extreme damage to the cage, to the hull, and just proper maintenance lets you know ahead of time. If you see a little nick or you see there's an issue with the blade, you'll catch it when you're waxing the blade or cleaning it or whatever, rather than just doing a quick pre-flight. You may miss something that could turn out to be a major problem down the road. So we'll get into the cleaning first. Like I said, clean with soapy water. I apply a little bit of turtle wax, let it haze over. Microfiber cloth, similar to what you would do with your car, but it really protects the finish and you can feel the difference. I mean, this is a little bit rough, and right where I just waxed, it's super smooth. So you know it's protecting, but also it keeps it easier to clean. Like bugs and stuff like that don't stick to it as much as if you've got a really good layer of wax on it. All right, next we're going to check the torque on the hub bolts and on the clamp bolts to make sure they're at spec. Here again, super easy to do, just takes a few minutes of time, but it's very important for the maintenance and care of the blades. Cincinich actually puts the torque specs on a little sticker that's right here on the hub of each propeller blade. It says my clamp bolts need to torque to 45 pounds, and it says the mount bolts need to torque to 60 pounds. So it's really easy. For the clamp bolts, I just do them one at a time. Okay, 45. Then I turn up to 60. One more torque wrench. And when I check the bolts for the hub, I always cross them. Like if you were tightening lugs on a car tire, same thing. So that's 60. Let's face it, your propeller is one of the most important parts of your airboat. Any time spent maintaining it will be well worth the effort.